high school hopefuls.
I got a mission. It ain't national. I'm a McDonald's bonus for the girls in the state of Texas. And we didn't have one girl in the McDonald's game. Kelsey was the last one. Sinead was the last one. But we ain't got enough girls in the McDonald's game. And it's two voters in it's two voters in Texas. Me and I enjoy the city. But I'm on a mission to get every girl senior more visual. I need your help to do that. I want to close that off so the girls can get more visible. But I got to get you all to get smart. Rankings don't mean a fact. My son was 232. His senior year, 232. But Michael Okafor was 234. They both playing in pros. Most people make their money by ranking kids so that you can buy their website and get a subscription. It's not a knock on what they do. That's the way to entice people to think. But the guy who's ranking your kid, he might not have never played. And the second thing is, find the match that matches your daughter's skin. Why would you send a post player to where the guards shoot the ball? Now, I fight with her because I'm real honest. Me and that woman fought over Kelsey Bone and where Kelsey Bone went to school. Didn't we? We did. Kelsey was supposed to announce going to school at the McDonald's game. Is that right? We didn't know where that was, but she and her coach, who is a very good friend of mine, started playing video games on the phone. And she thought that was a great coach because they played video games. In a year, they called me and it was my fault. It was your fault. I'm watching the McDonald's game at my house because I ain't going. And she's announcing where she's going to school. I don't normally get involved. I tried to stop. Right? You tried to invent me. You got to let her know. If they want to get tattooed to go drive by themselves down the street, your ass don't let them do that. Now why all of a sudden for a big college decision, you gonna let them make their choice? I don't know what the hell they talking about. And I hate people say I ain't gonna be here. I go in my son's room, he's 30 years old, and I go in my night. Because one, I ain't on drugs, so I'm gonna make sure he ain't. I'm gonna make sure, because not all of us who get on drugs come back. And then in girls' sports, there's so many issues going on for them, you need to find out what's going on. So now all of a sudden, I'm thinking that. So Kim and I fought, and I let this go. Kim and I fought. And then she had to make a change. She played, and then there was another argument about whether you go pro this year and play another year. She went fifth in the draft, playing in with Bill and Bill, and it worked out. She switched schools. Not all the time does that story work out. And you want your daughter to play for a coach that in 10 years from now, he'll still know the name. That's how you judge a good coach, by how many people come out. Like Jared Jackson can't play for me. Ain't got to worry. All my coaches, because I treat them the same way. One thing I won't do is lie to them. And that scares me because the truth creates a lot of applause. But I can go to sleep at night because the truth ain't got no feelings. So me and Kim fought, screw me, you don't know what the hell you talking about. And Donald and we went back and forth. It's all love. It ain't no agenda. So this is about your knowledge. So can you got in, I take your stuff.
One of the absolute greatest people I've ever met on this journey, and I absolutely call it a journey, and it is John Lewis. Because I was just blessed with a big kid. My daughter has her dad's body. She has my beauty and so, but I didn't know about the game of basketball. I knew I wanted her to play sports. She was growing at a rapid pace, and she had to do something. And I'll tell you this, Kelsey was 9. I took her to play basketball. I found a coach. She had gone to Duke, good school. We were there for a week, and at the end of the week, the lady told me, she said, you know, you really need to find something else for your daughter to do. Basketball, she's too big, she's too slow, this is not for her. I said, well, wait a minute, she's just not. You can't teach her. Like, you know, she wasn't retarded or anything like that. No, this just isn't the thing for her. And that set me on fire because I come from an athletic family, and I was like, this can't be. So we didn't play basketball anymore for about a year. And I found a little team that was willing to take her. And when she was 12, I was introduced to John Lewis. And Kelsey was in the gym, but there were no girls. Lucas didn't do all of this. There was men, college men, and professional men, and so they were slinging her around and knocking her down. And I mean, she had to get in there and get after it. I never mentioned that coach's name. I've never told anybody who she was or who she is. But here's how the story ended. My daughter was the #2 player in high school when she graduated from high school. She was the McDonald's High School Player of the Year. She did go to South Carolina. She transferred and came back home. At all SEC MVP, any kind of accolade. She has 3 gold medals from the USA basketball team. My daughter graduated in May from Texas A&M University, and she was the 5th pick in the first round of the WNBA draft. And this was the kid who a lady had told me was never going to play this sport. So but I had to learn. I had to learn. There was so much that I didn't know. And I brought this for you today because this was my recruiting phone. And recruiting is, and now with the unlimited talk and the unlimited texting, and they can call all day at night, and they're going to tell you they're not going to call that school, but they are. Coaches are going to say they're not going to call after 10 and at 11, they're going to be on the phone. But I say to parents this, please don't get starstruck. I met Gino and Pat and Coach Blair and your guest, of course, they're all in this phone. I've kept this phone for a very long time. And doing recruiting, I could pick this phone up and they will all answer and talk to me. I can't call one of them now. I can't call anybody and they'll pick the phone up and talk to me. So it's not about, a lot of parents think it's about developing a friendship with a coach, and they don't want to be our friend. I mean, it's a job. You're talking about people who are making $500, $700, $900,000, and they don't want to be your friend. They have too many parents and they have too many things to do. So you have to be an advocate for your kid. Lucas and I did have a fight about Kelsey and college. I struggled with it when my daughter announced that she was going to South Carolina. I love Dawn Staley to this day. But South Carolina as a whole was not a good place for my kids. But what I didn't want to do, because I got to go to the college I wanted to go to. I went to Texas Southern, and that's where I wanted to go to school. And so I wasn't going to force her to go to a school that felt good for me. But I made her go, she wanted to go to that school, and in November, she wanted to leave. Because all the things we had talked about came to fruition. but I wouldn't let her leave. This is where you wanted to go to school. You're gonna stay for the entire year. If you don't like it at the end of the year, we'll have that conversation then. You're not gonna flip flop and all of that. But here's the beauty of what happened with us. Kelsey learned a very important lesson. Thanks. She learned how to make a decision. And she also learned that from her decisions, there were consequences. And I could not always come and clean up her mess. She had to sit out the year that Texas A&M won the national championship. That was on her. Because that was a choice that she made. Here's what I'm going to say to you. Know what you want out of this for your kids. My daughter was going to school, and the only thing I wanted her to do was get an education. Lucas, they all kept talking about Kelsey to play professional basketball. I didn't know anything about that. I knew men, and I knew women did it, but I didn't see her at that point for a while. But I knew I wanted her to go to college. When she transferred, she did not lose 1 hour. She transferred 30 hours from South Carolina because I made sure that that didn't happen. So if you don't know what you want from this out of your kids, when she got ready to leave this year, I let her make another decision. She could have stayed in college for 1 more year, or she could have gone to the league. In the WNBA, she was the number 5 pick this year. Next year, she was going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 again. That was on her. But here's the thing. In May, she graduated from college. And once she did that, I didn't care what she did. She didn't want to work. She has to go to work. So again, it was her decision. Now sometimes she says, I almost wish I would have stayed in school. But it's a balance. And you have to let them grow up. You have to let them feel the pains. You have to let them feel the angst. You have to do all of that. Chantel talks about leaving. When Kelsey went to South Carolina, I moved to South Carolina. I moved. And people said, let that girl go. It wasn't that. I had seen her play basketball for so long, I couldn't imagine not watching her play. Right. I just couldn't. And since that was her decision, I made a decision about that because I wanted to really see her. I would not have been able to see her play that far away. So it's a balance, but you have to be able to understand what it is that you want out of this. I was not going to let any school or any program use my kids without us getting something out of it. My daughter has a degree. She has a double minor in communications and human resource and development. She is going to do an internship next summer with Good Morning America because she did some of that work at Texas A&M. So don't just have them be about the basketball. I entered her into oratorical competition because if they're an athlete, somebody's going to put a microphone in front of their face. And I didn't want my kids to be a dumb job. Okay? At the draft, it was the WNBA draft. So my daughter, which is the only kid I had in the fight, she was going to look like a WNBA player. And that's what we did. And it is a lot. She struggled this year. And there's always going to be a struggle. And there's always going to be a hurdle. But she graduated from college, and she's gotten all the things out of this that I want. So I'm at peace now. The fighting with Lucas and this and that, it's all been work. I burned up 4 cars, drive here, drive everywhere. But it still goes back to that lady who told me my daughter was never going to be able to do this. And she's got a great education because of something that somebody said she was never going to be able to do. So, stick with your kids. Lucas is right. Rankings mean absolutely nothing. There's no prize for being the #1 player in the country. There's no perk. If there was some money to it, I would have been doing a little bit more to get mine back to #1. But there's none. But you have to know what you want for your daughter and help them know too. Because at 17, a lot of times, they don't see the big picture. Okay? So that's my spiel. And if there's